Jesse Cole is the founder of Fans First Entertainment and owner of the Savannah Bananas. He's fanatic about fandom and launched the Savannah Bananas with one mission: to spark a fan-focused movement. Whether at the ballpark, on stage delivering keynotes, writing books, or on social media platforms like Instagram, where the Bananas currently have more than 2.2 million followers, Jesse continues to entertain fans around the world. The Bananas have sold out every game since their first season in 2016 and have a current wait list for tickets of over 1 million people. They've entertained millions of fans in Savannah, Georgia, and at ballparks around the country on their Banana Ball tour. ESPN calls the Bananas the greatest show in baseball. Jesse is the proud inventor of Banana Ball and Dolce & Banana underwear, and the not-so-proud promoter of the Human Horse Race and Flagellants Fun Night. He's a raving fan of his wife, Emily, their 3 children, and peerless promoters like Walt Disney, P.T. Barnum, and Bill Veeck. Jesse is also the author of 3 best-selling books, and he owns 7 yellow tuxedos. If you're ready to abandon normal and change the game, then strap yourself in as Jesse peels back the curtain and shares how you can find joy and success in everything you do. Yellow, Jesse, and thanks for joining us on Life Excellence.
Excited to be with you.
It's great to have you. Jesse, when you started the Savannah Bananas, you were highly criticized by virtually everyone. I think with the exception of your wife, Emily, I don't think anyone thought you were going to succeed, not the city of Savannah, nor anyone in the baseball community. How were you able to persevere in spite of the deck being stacked against you, so to speak? And what do you say to people who have an idea that isn't necessarily embraced by those around them?
Well, first of all, I don't blame anybody. The reality is baseball never succeeded in Savannah. There was professional baseball for 90 years. No one was coming out to games, the lowest in attendance. The minor league team left, and we had no track record. We had a small college summer team in Gastonia. I think I was 31 years old at the time. My wife was 28. We had a 24-year-old team president and 3 22-year-olds straight out of college. Why would we be successful? But I think the big difference is that we had a very big vision. And we believed that if we made baseball fun, if we made baseball a fan experience all about the fans first, if we eliminated all the friction and the frustration points and the long, slow, boring parts of baseball, that more people would come out. We believed in that. The problem was no one had experienced it. So we were talking, and we only sold a handful of tickets. And that's when my wife and I had to sell our house, empty out our savings account. We were sleeping on an airbed. And so the number one thing that I think led us through this was belief. We believed in a vision. We believed that if we did something dramatically different than everyone else, that it would have different results. And I always say, whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. Normal's going to get you normal results. And often, if you're not getting criticized, you're playing it too safe. And so we get criticized because of the name. We got criticized for now playing only Banana Ball. We get criticized for playing all over the country. We get criticized for almost everything. And I think it's because, we're doing something that other people aren't doing. So it is easier to criticize.
I love the concept of doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. I say if you don't know what to do, just do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And that's a pretty good starting point, right? Whether we're talking about investing or business ideas or health or any number of other ideas. For those listening or watching who aren't familiar with the Bananas, and obviously there are millions of people who follow you on social media, who attend games, not just in Savannah, Georgia, but around the country. But for those of us who are listeners and viewers who aren't familiar with the Bananas, Jesse, help us to get a sense of what Banana Ball is. I think everybody knows baseball and understands basically the rules of baseball, but what are a few of the rules of Banana Ball that distinguish it from conventional baseball?
Well, it's definitely not baseball. It is Banana Ball. And yes, we put ourselves in our fans' shoes, and we started realizing that even when we played back in the day, traditional baseball, fans were still leaving games early. So we said, what do we do to make it a different game? And so we created Banana Ball, a 2-hour time limit. If you win the inning, you get a point. So there's walk-offs every single inning. Batters can steal first. If a fan catches a foul ball, it's an out. That's a big rule. That's very popular. And, there's no walks, there's no mound visits, there's no bunting. If you bunt, you're thrown out of the game. And, the whole game is built on speed and entertainment. We had over 600 trick plays on the tour last year. I mean, it's really, really fast paced and entertaining. And yeah, every game's under 2 hours. So, we have 98% of our fans stay to the last pitch. And it's unbelievable to watch. They're standing up because it always comes down to the last inning because of the way we built the rules. And, I feel like a kid at a candy store. I see everything that I love about the game, and I'm creating it and adding new things. It's like Willy Wonka. It's like, oh, this would be great. This would be great. I mean, we added the golden batter rule this year that now in the ninth inning, no matter what the situation is, your best hitter can come back up. So even if he just got out in the eighth inning, he can come back up with the game in the line. And we're just trying to make the game as exciting as possible.
Well, and it definitely is exciting, which is sort of the opposite of the stereotypical baseball game, right? Where you're sitting around a lot. Baseball players are standing around a lot. If for our listeners and viewers, if you haven't seen Banana Ball yet in the Savannah Bananas, just Google it and you will be watching it for hours and entertained for hours. Just out of curiosity, you mentioned the fans being able to catch the fly ball, and that's an out. How often does that occur in a typical game? How many outs do the fans
It happened
get?
over 60 times last year, over 60 times. So literally one game, a 15-year-old kid caught a ball to win the game in North Carolina. It was unbelievable. And so fans are bringing their gloves. They're ready to go. They're watching every pitch. I mean, it's, again, we want it fans first is how do you get the fans involved in the game? And even this past year now, fans can challenge a ruling on the play, on the field. So one play a game, if they don't like it, the fans can actually challenge it. So we're just really trying to get them involved. And that's what fans first is. And that's how we make every decision for our company.
Oh, that's fantastic. Jesse, give us some of the backstory. What inspired you to buy a baseball team? I mean, that's kind of a crazy idea. And what was it like early on? You talked a little bit about that. You mentioned mortgaging your house and some other things that you needed to do, but why a baseball team of all things?
I think mostly just my wife and I thought it'd be a great decision the first year of marriage to go into $1.8 million in debt. We thought that would be a really smart way to start our life together. We had worked with our team in Gastonia for many years, and that was, a small suburb of Charlotte. And I started there when I was 23 years old as a GM, $268 in the bank account, 200 fans coming to the game. They were one of the worst teams in all of college summer baseball. We built them to be fourth in the country in attendance, selling out games. We learned a lot. I mean, we learned so much from P.T. Barnum and Walt Disney and Bill Veeck and started entertaining like crazy that we knew if we could start a brand from scratch and in a bigger market that we could make it successful. And so, yeah, I mean, when we first came there, everyone thought we were just all talk. We sold a handful of tickets. I'll never forget January of 2016, getting the call that we'd overdrafted our account. We were out of money and, we had nothing left. And that's when we got an airbed and we sold our house and we're just $30 a week grocery shopping. I mean, it was bad. We had to get attention. And so what we believe is attention beats marketing 1,000% of the time. We were talking, but we had to create attention. So when we named the team the Savannah Bananas, it wasn't just naming the team the Bananas. We came up with the idea to have a senior citizen dance team called the Banana Nanas, a male cheerleading team called the Mananas, a mascot named Split, music videos to Can't Stop the Peeling, a banana baby that we'd lift up before the games and sing, Nah, Savannah, a banana band, which you would never have in a baseball game. And so we had a bigger vision of how to make it not like a typical baseball game. So once they came out and saw that the first night, fans started telling everyone. And since that first season, we've sold out every game. And now the lottery list for tickets is over 2 million. And, we're selling out major league stadiums. And I never would have imagined this when we first started.
What a crazy, awesome success story. It's clear that the Bananas are not only different from other baseball teams, but in fact, and obviously you've created something completely unique. I think, Jesse, a lot of us get stuck trying to figure out how to differentiate ourselves. We hear that in marketing books, and we know that we need to be different to differentiate ourselves and our businesses in the marketplace, but we struggle with that sometimes. Your book, Find Your Yellow Tux, addresses this, and it's all about standing out in a world full of sameness. Where did the yellow tux idea come from? And when did you decide that was going to be your signature outfit? You try lots of things all the time, and some of them stick and some don't. Obviously, the yellow tux thing stuck because you now have at least 7 of them, I think.
Yeah, I'm up to 9 now, which is crazy.
Oh,
But
wow.
yes, I mean, I was inspired by PT Barnum, as I mentioned, and back in Gastonia, people don't realize the yellow tux happened before the bananas. So when I was in Gastonia, I was on the mic putting on a show. I was getting in the dunk tank every game. I mean, we were doing grandma beauty pageants and dig to China nights and pregnant dance offs. I mean, we tried it all. And I was like, if I'm on the field putting on a show, why should I be dressed like everyone else? And so I was inspired by PT Barnum. And so, yeah, the first night it was a black giant top hat and a black tuxedo with tails, but it was 101 degrees in North Carolina and I almost melted. I said, this ain't going to work. And so I found a lighter colored one, wore it the next day, and it stuck. I mean, people started, they knew where I was around the ballpark. And more than anything, it amplified who I was, like, full of energy and bringing life to things. And, now that I've realized, it's given permission to our team to have fun. And our whole staff, now we have over 200 staff and players that are here. It's crazy what's happened. But, everyone's in costumes and outfits and dancing and having fun. And I think that's so important as a leader. If you're always going to be serious, then you're going to have that with your team. And I think there's a value. When you have fun, you perform better. And we've seen it with our players. We've seen it with our staff. And so now, this is my uniform. When I put it on, it's showtime. And I always kind of embody that attitude of have fun and be different and stand out.
I don't know this for sure, but as far as I know, you're the only person in the world who wears a yellow tuxedo every day. How is it helpful to be different, or even better to be the only, which is what I think you are, certainly in the case of the yellow tux and the bananas are in many other ways? And what suggestions do you have for helping us to discover or create our own uniqueness in business, for finding our own yellow tux?
Yeah, well, I think so many people and so many businesses are trying to be a little bit faster, a little bit better, a little bit And how do you be the only in your industry? And I think it starts often by looking at what gives you energy. A game changer for me, and I talk a lot about it in my second book, Fans First, was to create your energy list. When I first started, I was doing everything: operations, food and bev, hiring, and I was burnt out at the end of every night, exhausted. And now my goal is to have more energy when I come home to my kids at the end of the night. So to do that, I gotta be doing what gives me energy. So to find what gives you the only, it's what are you not only passionate about, well, what gives you energy? What fires you up? Because then you will invest more time, more research, more resources into that to be able to stand out. And then often, like, the best way in a business is put yourself in your customer's shoes and ask. The starting point of all innovation is, what are the friction points and what are the frustration points for your customer? We realized with baseball, too long, too slow, too boring, you get nickel and dime. So we created all-inclusive tickets, no ticket fees, no convenient fees, made it entertaining. Same thing with Banana Ball. So if you really want to stand out, put yourself in the customer's shoes, find what gives you energy, and go all in.
That's great advice. I remember reading a book about 20 years ago called The Experience Economy. You're probably familiar with
Joseph Fine and Jim Gilmore. Yeah,
exactly. And that was the first time I really understood the concept of businesses scripting and staging memorable events and experiences rather than just providing a product and service, which is, even in business school, that's what I learned. And you've taken that concept, and to borrow a phrase Walt Disney used to use, plussed it. And I say plussed it, you've actually multiplied it exponentially, right? It's the experience economy on steroids that you've created as you've turned this traditional baseball experience into a circus-like atmosphere. And again, you really have to, you do a great job of describing it, but when you see it, it's just, it's bananas. As I was prepping for the show, and I really enjoyed watching lots of videos and going on Instagram, and just a couple examples that stood out for me are the world's tallest hitter and pitcher, 10-foot Dakota Stilts, and then this play, all kinds of zany plays, but this one I saw where the ball was hit, I think, to the center fielder, and the center fielder had a bat and hit the ball to the first baseman to make an out. And it was just crazy to me. And that happens every night, I think, at the ballpark. How did your experience strategy evolve? And share a couple other ways that you create unique experiences every night at the ballpark.
Yeah, again, a great call. It was inspired by Walt Disney. Our fans first pillars and our fans first principles, our number 11 principle is always plus the experience. And I got that from Walt Disney. Disney said, Disneyland is a living, breathing thing. It'll never be complete. We'll continue to plus the show. And he believed that whenever he was building. That's why he never liked sequels. He always wanted to plus Disney World and Disneyland. So For us, we started with doing one new thing every single night. I think, constraints foster creativity. So if you force yourself to have to do certain new things, you're going to become more creative. Now we do 10 to 15 new things every single night. We have OTT sessions where we talk about over the top ideas. It started as idea paloozas. And so, yeah, what I want people to come to the ballpark is see something they've never seen before. So again, whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. Normally coaches coach. We have a breakdancing coach who's unbelievable, does unbelievable dancing every game at first base. A 10-foot guy hitting on stilts, a team playing in kilts. We think about all that stuff on how to do things that people haven't seen. And so you really got to create an idea culture in your organization and get everyone working their idea muscle. And so every day, we have groups getting together and talking about ideas on how to solve problems for our fans or make it a better, more fun, unique experience. And then we just start experimenting. We're not afraid to fail. I mean, Living Pinata, huge failure. All right. A lot of these crazy promotions we've tried haven't worked, but some, they work out pretty well.
It seems like most companies that try to do what you do, and I think it's challenging to replicate that success for a whole bunch of reasons, not the least of which is just that vision at the top from somebody like you or a Walt Disney or a P.T. Barnum. But it seems like companies that try to do that, to run at such a frenzied pace, risk burning people out. How do you ensure that doesn't happen? And you're talking about 10 to 15 new ideas per night, that it's great that you're coming up with that and that other visionaries are coming up with that. But to take that and implement that, it seems like in most organizations, somebody on the receiving end of those visionary ideas would be like, oh my goodness, like I have no idea how we're going to get this done. How do you make sure that doesn't happen? And what can we all do to make sure that we're jazzing and energizing our team rather than depleting their energy with demands we place on them, which often happens in organizations?
Yeah. I understand. Well, I'll stop you first. It's not just visionaries who come up with ideas and are visionaries who are creative. Everyone has creativity. We just don't often work our idea muscle. So what we do is we constantly encourage it. I mean, we have one of our group ticket team members saw our drains at our stadium, and they were just normal drains. And so he himself went and said, I'm going to make him custom bananas. And he got custom little bananas in all of the drains, a little tiny detail that 1% of our fans see. But he's not a part of our creative team or our marketing team. We look for ways to do things and we encourage it. And so when you talk about burnout, we work very hard. What we do touring around the country, it's crazy, traveling with 150, 200 people. But we get purpose on seeing how our fans respond to what we do. When you have fans lining up at 9 a.m. or fans that drive 40 hours to come to your game, which a family came to me, I was like, there's a thing called an airplane. That's a lot easier than driving 40 hours. But when people do that, we share those stories. What most happen with most companies, they have core beliefs, but they have stories that back up those core beliefs. Every time we go into a city, we talk about the fans' first moments that are created. And we get emails, videos, we get other opportunities from fans that we can then recognize what happened. And then from our social media, you mentioned TikTok, you mentioned Instagram. I mean, we now have 8 million followers on TikTok, 15 million followers total. So when we put a video out, we get immediate reaction from fans. And a lot of times it's like, oh, thank you guys. I love this. You made my day. I mean, people that were going through depression and thinking about committing suicide, that say your videos and your games lift us up. Like that gives us purpose to keep pushing and keep staying fresh. So I think, you really, as a leader, you need to reflect out and say, why are we doing this? What is the purpose? And to share the difference that your product makes. And then say, hey, we have a responsibility, an obligation. And if we get energy out of it, let's keep pushing. And so, our staff, we're really enjoying what we do. We have to keep it fresh. As soon as we get bored is when we think our fans will get bored. So we make sure if we don't have new ideas, then we're in trouble. And so that's why we love coming up with ideas.
How do you share those stories practically in your organization? So, I mean, conceptually, that sounds great. And not to get too far into the weeds on it, but do you have formal meetings, or you must have some kind of formal structure to be able to do just the sheer number of new ideas that you implement every day? What does that look like?
Yeah, we learned the idea mechanism from Saturday Night Live. So on Mondays they have their idea pitch sessions to the host and to Lorne Michaels. Then Tuesday they start writing. Wednesday they do table reads. Thursday, Friday they get ready for rehearsals. Saturday they have a rehearsal at 8 p.m. They cut things, then they're ready at the 11:30 show. We do our OTT ideas on Tuesday because we're traveling a lot Sunday, Monday. Then we start doing table reads and we plan that and start doing rehearsals and practicing into that weekend. In regards to the stories, when we come into a new city or the start of a new weekend, we get the whole staff together and we share fans' first moments from the past weekend. So we get the stories from the department leads on, say, all right, what was one from your department? What was one from your, that's something that really made a difference in a fan. And we share that, and that gives them examples on how to create more in the future. I mean, the Hall of Fame put us in the Hall of Fame this year, which is crazy. The Bananas, and one of our players' jerseys is in the Hall of Fame because he has kids sign his jersey. And that's what's amazing. It's not from his playing ability. It's because of the fans' first moments he create. And that's what we share over and over again.
You mentioned the exhibit at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and I was certainly going to bring that up. How did that feel? Because that's really probably the ultimate honor, certainly from the traditional sport of baseball. How did it feel when you received word from Cooperstown? And what does that mean for the Savannah Bananas to receive that kind of recognition?
Yeah, I got emotional. When I first got the call, and I called my dad, and he was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And then to see us, when we went there back in September, and to see this whole exhibit, and they had my idea books in there. Really where I came up with the first ideas for Banana Ball back in 2018, and my top hat, and our first scorebook, and our yellow ball, and Michael Deeb's jersey, and it was overwhelming. And it was because of the impact. They said we can't not pay attention to what you're doing. It's made an impact, and with all the people coming around the country and kids playing it. And so I told our team that it's a testament to them for being fans first. We wouldn't be here if we weren't fans first. Yes, we're creating a new game. Yes, we're creating new fans, but it's because of all those moments every single night that each one of us create. It's fact that literally when our fans show up at 9 a.m. or noon, we're out there greeting them. That we have a whole march and we welcome them all into the stadium, that we're signing autographs until an hour after the game and greeting every single fan. It's those moments that really brought us to the Hall of Fame. And, it was quite the honor, to say the least.
What an incredible accolade, and certainly a big honor for you. That's can't think of any really bigger way to honor the role that the Savannah Bananas have played, not just in baseball or the banana ball version of it, but really in contributing fun and joy to the world. So that's awesome. Jesse, everything we've been talking about really centers around inspiring fanatical loyalty, whether we're talking about with your fans and your fans first philosophy, but also in your organization and in the community. Your company name is Fans First Entertainment, and so you're clearly fanatical about fandom. Why is it so important? Why is that at the core, the essence of everything that you do? And what impact have you seen because of that focus on putting fans first?
It's everything. And I didn't get it right at first. The name of the company was first Team Cole and Associates, which sounds like a terrible law firm or an accounting office. No, we wanted to be clear. I think simplicity. I learned this from Donald Miller back in the day. You confuse, you lose. And so what if the name of the company is who you are and what you stand for? We are fans first. We entertain always. It's Fans First Entertainment. Our mission is fans first, entertain always. Every decision we make, we ask, is it fans first? We have our fans first pillars that guide us. It's everything. And so when you know really why you do what you do, who you work for, and who you serve every single day, it makes decision making easy. It makes the vision much easier to reach to. And it's been everything for us. And again, it's all we talk about. It's all we talk about. I mean, I'll never forget, we had an intern with us for just a couple weeks, and we were walking, all the players and staff were walking people to their car in the rain with the umbrellas. And I watched an older gentleman come up to her and say, I would like a walk. And so she walks him, and she's gone for 30 minutes. And we're all about to send out a search party. We're worried. She comes back soaking wet. And I said, where were you? She goes, I walked that gentleman to his doorstep. I go, you walked him home? And she goes, fans first, right? She was with us for just 2 weeks. But those two simple words guided her in doing something, taking literally the extra mile, because she walked him almost a mile. And those are the differences. And so we share those stories over and over again. So someone, if they just join us, they know how to act and what to do to serve our fans.
How does that happen? So somebody 2 weeks in already adopting the philosophy and manifesting it in the way that you described, walking a fan home in the rain. What do you do on the front end to make sure that happens, or to educate and train and inspire not just the fans first philosophy, but really everything that you stand for?
Well, you have leaders that are very vocal and scream from the mountaintops who they are, what they stand for, and what makes them different. I mean, literally, if you search fans first, we're all over it. It's from the books to the speeches to the lessons to the sharing, the writing, and then when they apply with us, we make it a fans first experience. Literally from the get-go. You write a fans first essay on how you fit our core beliefs. You see our fans first pillars and our principles. We look for a future resume to see how you are fans first. And then as soon as you start, our fans first 101 and fans first orientation is built on traditions and storytelling. And everyone on our team, even in the hiring process, you're meeting people and we're talking about it. It is just talked about over and over and over again. And those examples, those stories. So when you start day one, which our players came here for spring training. Our entire staff was there greeting them with a marching band. And we had literally streamers, confetti. Then we had surprises for them in the locker room. We had surprises in the office. And we had a lunch with a carving station for them, like literally a carving station. We went all above and beyond. So we treated them like fans. So our players now know what it feels like because we made them feel that. So same thing when our interns start with us. We had a huge party, huge celebration. They're wowed. They have their favorite treats, their favorite snacks. That's how you do it. You got to make them feel like fans as well if you want to give them examples on how to treat our fans like that.
When I think of the Savannah Bananas, I think about fans first, but the next thing I think of is fun and just all capitals and very large letters. As you know, we live in a world where sports teams and other businesses certainly tend to take themselves very seriously. And yet one of the things that I love about the Bananas is that you've doubled down on fun and absurdity and high energy. What advice do you have for injecting more fun into our businesses? Because that's not usually something that leaders and managers focus on like they do at the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, it's a soft word, like love, Oh, love's good. Fun's good, but what does it mean? It's too soft. It's not tangible. How do you measure it? Well, I think you can measure fun. If you go into an office, how often do you hear laughter? If I ever walk into our office and I'm not hearing laughter, something's wrong, and I'll check in with it. And so, I think business can be very serious. The reality is, if people aren't having fun, what's the point? And I look at it like we come in daily and we try to do things that are fun for us, that we would enjoy, that we would have fun with, and our job is to deliver fun. And now maybe that's not your business. Now, some businesses, I get it, medical, law, there's so many I could go on that have to be very, very serious. But my question is, when I say in Fans First book, the 5 E's to create raving fans, the second E is entertain always. And everyone's like, oh, you're in the entertainment business. We can't be in that. The definition of entertain is to provide enjoyment, which is a good friend of fun. So if we're all providing enjoyment, if our job is to provide enjoyment, we better be enjoying what we do. How can you provide great enjoyment if you don't enjoy what you do? So what we try to do is we try to surround ourselves with people that, like when we're hiring people, we go out and we take them out. We have to see, do we have fun with them? Could we take them to the barbecue? Could we have a drink with them? Could we hang out with them? How fun is it? And you want to make sure that we have similar interests in that. Now, we have a diverse crew, but can we have fun together? And so I think, you ask anyone what they love about their company, it's not just what they do and why they do, it's the people they're surrounding themselves with. And if you're around people that aren't having fun, it's kind of tough. So we're really intentional on that. It's part of the interview process where we come in. And I think just if leaders didn't take themselves too seriously and gave their people permission to have fun, they would be shocked by the production and how much better people would be at their job if you allowed a little bit more fun in your organization.
So what I'm visualizing as you're saying that is maybe a fun spectrum. And so you on the spectrum are like way off the chart, on the right side of fun. But maybe there's a joy or engagement or a level of fun that's appropriate even at a law office. And it might not be fun with the client, although there are certainly ways to put clients first, just like you can put fans first in baseball or in banana ball, but also in engaging people and making it a joyful place. It doesn't have to be drudge, and it doesn't have to be serious all the time, right? It might not look like Savannah, Georgia, the night of a Savannah Bananas game, but it can be an appropriate level of engagement and fun. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, when people start, do you welcome them first with paperwork and say, all right, here's the processes, here's the policies, here's the rules? Or do you actually welcome them as a friend you're actually connecting with? And, again, it's just, you can script everything. We script our rain delays. We have a 3-hour script for rain delays. We script when people start with us. We look at everything from our invoices to anything that we have, and we said, does it have some fun in it? Is it fun? Now, that's our brand. But I'll say, can you mix a little bit of fun into what you do? Test it, try it, experiment with it. What's the worst thing that can happen? And so I challenge leaders to throw a little bit of fun into what they do and see what happens. I think they'll be surprised in the results. And maybe people will be like, you know what? I really enjoyed working with my boss today because he wasn't so serious all the time.
That's great. Jesse, I know your most important audience lives at home with you. I'm curious, with the demanding schedule you have, what do you do to balance your professional demands as the top banana at your company, as well as your out speaking and your writing books, and still maintain harmony with your family and other important areas of your life?
Very intentional. And so it's what we work on. And I'm so fortunate with my wife. She's helped grounds our family. But yeah, my goal, again, do what gives me energy. If I do what gives me energy, I'll be my best for my family. So yes, we have 3 kids under 5, biological son, 2 foster daughters who we just adopted the past week. And so glad to have them, officially now a part of our family. But, they travel with us. They go on tour with us. I make sure that I can be full play mode with them. So I shut down, after a day of work and focus with them. The phone is not on me. I'm always playing with the kids, again, having fun. And so, again, it's what works for you. I get up at 4 a.m. I work for 2 hours before the kids get up and get a lot done. And then I make sure I take the kids to school. And then once they're at school, I get back into my work world. I work a lot. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. It gives me tons of energy, but I make sure that I have blocks every day to have doses, strong doses, and then on weekends where I can really engage with the kids. Everyone has their own secret sauce. They work. But for me, it's, again, not only defining the energy in work, but finding energy with the kids. I'm not really good at getting on the ground and playing, dolls with my daughters. All right. But I'm gladly will do a draw with them or do puzzles with them. And with my son, I will play basketball and banana ball. And so I find the things that also we love to do together and try to do more of that as well. And then especially for us, it's a lot of one-on-one time, a lot of daddy-daughter dates and burger boys with my son. So I try to make sure we have more of the experiential time, not just the sitting around time.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. And intentionality, I think, is the key to creating any kind of results that we want to create. And certainly when we're talking about harmony with family or success in business or health or fitness or anything else, really intentionality is at the start of it. And I heard you say that you're not great at playing dolls with your daughters, but I'm guessing you're on the floor sometime with dolls, or maybe letting them do your hair or put makeup on your face. And
not yet. They like they like tickle fest, and they like pillow fights. So I'll be on the ground losing in a pillow fight or a tickle fest, but hopefully no makeup on the face, at least for a few more years.
Well, make it yellow if you do it, I guess.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Jesse, one of the things that I really admire about you is the impact the bananas have had on the community. I know you're talking about intentionality. I know you're really intentional about raising money for not-for-profit organizations. And additionally, you launched your own organization last year, 501c3 not-for-profit called Bananas Foster. the mission of which is to celebrate the foster care community while educating and inspiring others to get involved. I think there are something like 400,000 kids in the foster care system in the U.S. So obviously we have a huge need in this area. Tell us about, and you mentioned it briefly with your two daughters, but tell us about your and Emily's personal experience as foster parents, and share why it's so important to you to bring families together through foster care.
Yeah, I mean, we learned right away, Emily has a huge heart and realized the challenge with 400,000 kids without a permanent home. And so we opened up our home. We got licensed during COVID, opened up our home, had two amazing daughters join us. And we just saw there's a need. And so we said, how can we bring people together just like we do with the bananas, but do that in the foster care world? So we started, we just said, hey, let's do it. Like anything, just start. And so we started Bananas Foster. And now everywhere we go around the country, we honor foster families on the field in front of sold out crowds that have either fostered 30, 40, 50 families that have adopted, and they get a standing ovation. And our players join them for a hug. And every one of those cities, more foster families sign up. Again, we are working on the Whale Done approach. Honor and recognize. Don't just talk about the problems. Share the people that are the heroes that are doing amazing things. And, I don't know when it's going to happen, but we have a wait list now, over 2 million people for tickets. We're going to create a wait list in this country of families wanting to be foster families. I believe it. We're going to do it the positive way, and we're going to make it happen.
That's awesome. And I really commend you for that. I congratulate you personally on the adoption of your two daughters. I know that was a lengthy process, and that's really a wonderful thing for your family. And beyond that, the impact that you're making. And I have no doubt that you will be successful in your goals for the foster care system. And there are hundreds of thousands of kids who will be better off because of it, and hundreds of thousands of families that will be better off because of it. And obviously our society gets to benefit too. You are now touring the country. So you started out having your games all in Savannah, Georgia, and now you're playing in all the biggest ballparks around the country on your Banana Ball tour. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep, just very fortunate. Went from one city world tour to 7 cities to 33 cities and 500,000 fans. Now we're going to over 1 million fans, 6 major league stadiums. We got a whole cruise ship, Banana Land at Sea. And again, just trying to bring it to more people. That's the whole goal, bring it to more people. And we have Party Animals doing a headlining tour, our second team, which has more followers than every Major League Baseball team on TikTok. So continue to bring the joy, and that's where we're having fun.
That's fantastic. Tell us, Jesse, about the players, the Savannah Bananas players, because as I watch them, they seem more Cirque du Soleil like than talented baseball players some of the time. But I know you also have some incredibly talented players who have played in the major leagues and are now playing for the Bananas. How do players come to you, and how is it that you create this environment that, again, is really a combination of traditional baseball and something like a Vegas act?
Yep. So we're looking for the most talented and entertaining players from all over the country. So yeah, we have a lot of guys that played pro ball, our pro ball caliber, throwing 95 miles an hour, guys that have played in the major leagues. But then, yeah, I mean, we're looking for people who can juggle, who can do backflips, who can entertain, who can do gymnastics, who can play on stilts. And it's a combination. And we've been very fortunate to find these from all over the country.
Jesse, our show, as you know, is called Life Excellence. The Savannah Bananas and your fans first philosophy certainly exemplifies excellence. And I'm curious, what does excellence mean to you?
I think about joy. I think about fun. I think about success. Excellence, for me, that's the outcome of doing something that you love, that gives you energy, and holding yourself to the highest standard. And when you do that, you produce pretty excellent results. So excellence is I think often looked outwardly. I think you have your own inner definition of excellence. And I think, again, it starts at doing things that you're passionate about, that you love, that you will put more energy and more effort to anyone else. And then the results often do become excellent.
That's very well said. Hey, Jesse, I know you need to split, but I want to thank you so much for being on our show today. It's great to see you again, and I'm grateful, one, for your coming on the show, and secondly, for your friendship. Thanks for everything. I appreciate you.
Thanks. It was great being with you.
Thanks for tuning into Life Excellence. Please support the show by subscribing, sharing it with others, posting about today's show with the amazing Jesse Cole on social media, and leaving a rating and review. You can also learn more about me at brianbartes.com. Until next time, dream big dreams and make each day your masterpiece.